Hey everyone, I didn't really know where to post something like this, but I've decided you all would enjoy my unnerving little experience. I won't exactly say where this happened, but I will say this takes place in the Midwest. There's a park I frequently visit, and I usually spend my day hiking or camp for a few days. The drive between the park and my house is about an hour and a half away. That may sound like a long time to a few of you, but believe me when I say, it's worth it. I tend to visit a lot during the autumn months, mostly because it's when the park is at its prettiest. The array of vibrant reds, yellows, and oranges is simply breathtaking. Every time I go to the park, my issues just seem to be whisked away by nature. Needless to say, I adore this place, and if it wasn't for the aforementioned hour-and-a-half drive, I'd probably be working there. I've seen many things during my hikes out in those woods, but nothing as simply bizarre as what I'm about to tell you. On the second week of October, I found some free time to drive up to the park and hike for a day. Usually, I tend to stick to the trails, but today I felt particularly adventurous and decided to hike off the trail and into the woods. I've done this many times before, and I'm very good at finding my way back to civilization, so I wasn't worried about getting lost at all. I hiked through the forest listening to different species of birds singing. Their chorus made me forget all about my stressful life in civilization, the struggle to pay rent for my apartment, find a career, and all the while maintaining a relationship. If I didn't have this kind of escape, I would have lost it by now. While crunching through the leaves and being alone with my thoughts, I found myself in a clearing right at the base of a hill. The hill was sizable, and I'm surprised I didn't see it crust over the trees. I decided to climb up the hill. When I got to the top, I looked off in the distance and took in the sight of the blue sky contrasting the red leaves. I then looked down to the base on the other side of the hill, and that's when I saw it. There was a white cube sitting at the base of the hill. I just stood there for what felt like an hour staring at this thing. I couldn't take my eyes off of it. The cube was big, about 8 feet on all sides. It looked to be made of stone, but it looked so smooth, I couldn't tell. The edges looked so straight and precise. It might have sliced my finger if I slid across it. At this point, I was miles deep into the forest, and there was no logical reason as to how this cube got here. All I knew was that whatever that thing was, it shouldn't have been there. Nature doesn't make something like that. It was then I noticed something else. The forest was completely silent. Hell, I couldn't even hear leaves swaying in the breeze. I felt a ball of dread starting to well up inside me, but I tried to ignore it. Then I began to hear something. It was very faint, but it still shot through the absolute silence like a bullet. It sounded like whispering from 1,000 different voices. Some male, some female, and some even sounded like children. There were so many of them I couldn't make out what they were saying. Then all of them at the same time started to say, "Come closer. You'll like what you see." Over and over again. I walked closer and closer to the object without thinking. I was a mere feet away from the cube, and the voices sounded more and more desperate. But something deep down in my subconscious told me to turn and run as fast as I could and not look back. I obliged and ran all the way back to the main trail and to my car and left without a second thought. My mind was completely empty the rest of the night, and I didn't even think about the cube until the next morning when it re-entered my mind. I couldn't stop thinking about it for the next 3 days, so I used one of my vacation days to go back to the park. I went down to the exact same path and found the hill again. I climbed to the top and instantly looked down. When I saw what was there, I was floored. There was nothing. I looked all around me but saw absolutely no sign of the cube. The spot where it originally sat showed no sign of it ever being there in the first place. I walked back to my car and left the park distraught. It's been about 2 weeks since the whole thing happened, and I'm really considering going back to the spot again for the 3rd time. I'm not sure if I'll be able to find anything, but I know I wasn't hallucinating or hearing things. I'll let you know if I find anything. Thanks for joining us around the campfire. If you enjoyed the story, subscribe below. Also, hit that notification bell to be notified of our new stories as they are posted. If you have a story you'd like to share for narration, submit it via email, and you may be hearing your story next. Our email address is in the description box below. Thank you, and good night.